Boys, we are back. All out NRL fantasy for round 22. What about the performances of some of those teams last week in round 21? The Broncos and the Warriors. Sean Johnson, wow.
It's a beautiful week of footy, Door. Beautiful week.
Dally M, book it now.
Nah, Ben Hunt.
No.
Benny Hunt, mate. What?
We'll touch on the Daily Ev predictions a bit later. But what were you going to say, Flat?
I'll just contradict myself, but anyway, play on, Bill.
Lovely stuff, Flats. All right, yeah, no, I thought the Broncos against a strong South team. I guess that we were talking up last week about how Latrell coming back, and unfortunately he didn't come back. But he's back this week, which we'll find out a bit later. But they sorely did really miss him on the weekend.
Door, the Broncos are fraudulent.
Fraudulent?
They leaked 20 points against a Latrell-less Rabbitohs team. Don't think the defence will cut it comes final time.
Yeah, and I saw Phil Gould came out today and he said there's no chance the Broncos win because their defence isn't good enough at September footy. So I think you highlighted a good point there, Mick.
Did Gus say that?
He did.
I'm going to change opinion. I think the defence is good enough.
If we're going to go down that line, so the Panthers conceded 18 points to the Bulldogs last week.
Yeah, look, great point, Dora. And if we're
going to nitty pick the bloody Broncos for their defence against South, you tell me which team's better, South or the Bulldogs?
Bulldogs.
Doggies, mate.
No.
There's no Latrell. He's the most valuable player in the comp.
Yeah, and the Bulldogs have no kick.
Door, you got to be watching those games closer.
Anyway,
It's a game, Mick, so I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway,
it's clearly illogical there, boys. But I want to touch.
Start this podcast.
I want to touch on the Warriors, boys, because they ruined the PJWT multi in the dying minutes of the game. But the good thing for them and their fans is they're finding ways to win tough. And the Raiders had a chance to win at the end of the game. SJ comes back and kicks a field goal. So where do we think the Warriors are going to end up at the end of the year?
I think they're the real deal, mate. Look, SJ is back. He's got ice in his veins, that's for sure. But I don't know if we're all believers. We have a lot of Waz fans in our comments that we saw. They think they can go all the way. They deluded Flats.
The Warriors are not the real deal. You heard it here first. Firstly, they lack experience in the finals. Am I wrong?
That's fact.
Secondly, their forwards are overrated.
Jeez.
And to top it off, their 5'8" is no good. That's all.
Look, Flats is a merchant of the truth.
Luke Metcalf, he's been playing good, but he's not a finals player.
No, it is his first full season of first grade this year for Metcalf. But I guess he has kept Tamari Martin out of the team.
Yeah,
I think the Wires have. I don't see them going all the way, but I think they'll have a good finals campaign.
Yeah, and like I think we touched on last week, they have quite a soft draw going into the finals. So if I'm a Wise fan, I think you're gonna make the top four for the first time in quite a while.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. And that will give them 2 home finals, so that's a huge deal.
Yeah, good on the Wise, and I think another good team that we're following here, boys, and we'll talk about where we think our top 8 is going to go. Newcastle getting over the Storm last week. That's a big win for them in the season because we almost drew a line through their name if they didn't win that game. So big win for them.
Yeah, I think it was the first time that they beat the Storm in 12 games or something like that. So good on Newcastle.
I'm backing them to make the 8 as long as big Kalen Ponga is healthy.
They come 12th. I've done the calculations, just like last year.
So what's the calculations then, mate? Let's run it through it straight away.
Look, I'll have to go back a bit, but I predict they come 12th. I'll go through the games that they have, mate.
Who comes 11th?
I can go through them for you.
This is my list. Rabbitohs 5th. Right, Penrith Broncos, Warriors 3rd, Raiders 4th, Rabbits 5th, Sharks 6th, Storm 7, Cows 8, Manly 9th, Eels 10th, Dolphins.
The Sharks have been playing horrible.
So
Mate, they sneak in.
So you had the Sharks and Manly. No, who did you have? The Sharks and the Eels to miss out.
No, I have Eels, Manly, and Knights to miss out.
Okay.
Yeah, well, the Knights have
You
got...
got every informed team, really,
Yeah, mate.
to miss out. Manly,
Mate,
Newcastle.
it's all a disguise. It's
Your calculation.
they're fraudulent.
So go back to the calculator.
It's a smoke bomb.
Well,
They're not actually
back
good.
to Newcastle. Back to Newcastle. They've got Raiders, Dolphins, Bulldogs, Rabbitohs, Sharks, Dragons for their run home. So like it's not that bad, but I just can't. The only team I see currently in the 8 for me that misses out is the Sharks. I think the Sharks. We can touch on their run quickly. They've got a very tough schedule coming home. They've got Penrith this week, Rabbitohs next week, and they're both away. Then they've got Titans, Cowboys, Knights, Raiders. So you're talking about...
That's a show-off for the 8, that is. All the Raiders, the Knights, versus the...
It's a sexy finish to the season.
For me, I just think that they're Finucane, if you guys didn't hear from the stories today, has been ruled out for the season. So they've lost another experienced, valuable part of their side.
McInnes is better anyway.
I agree.
I agree.
It's actually
but
beneficial for them, in my opinion.
I just think Finucane, he's done it with the Storm, the grand final winner. I think it could be a big loss.
You know what the Sharks
at the back
needed?
end.
They needed another 9. I don't rate Blake Barry at all.
Oh, he hasn't been too bad this season.
Yeah, he's in the
Anyway,
New South Wales squad, mate.
what about, we've touched on our...
Does that actually mean hold any weight anymore?
Yeah.
Well, it could.
Cord, have you
In a
got
couple of years.
anything to, or Flats, have you guys got anything? Like I've got Cronulla missing out for me, and from the current 8, and I think either Parramatta or Newcastle will go in.
Yeah, look, I don't want to say too many teams because only they can fit in, but I think the Sharks slip out, and I think the Cows make it into the 8. I think they're playing pretty good footy at the moment, obviously. And I agree with Flats. I think Newcastle's going to get in there.
Yeah,
Mate, run the calculations.
yeah.
I'm running the calculations,
That's
and they're
all
booking
He
it.
doesn't need to go into it like detail like you did, Mick.
All I know is that the Warriors have got no chance.
No chance at all. No,
I'm so keen for these TikTok comments, man.
What about, we should move on quickly, just Daily M. What are we thinking?
Daily
The Daily Cherry Evans.
Daily M.
SJ.
I think we did a post this afternoon. SJ's probably front runner, but like you said, Haas is 14-2. Is it with
14? Yeah, 14-5 when he's played for the Broncos. Payne Haas. So.
And if we look back at round 12, who was leading it? It was Haas.
Payne Haas.
It was Haas.
How many games has he missed since then, though? It's not like NRL where they take into account a team's record and stuff. It's purely off how many points they got each game.
Yeah, but if you're winning games. And
Yeah, I
he's
know,
one
but
of
how
your
many
best
games has he
players.
played since then?
He's played most.
He's
I
played
think-
most of them. He's definitely missed, I think, like 2, I reckon.
If the Warriors are going to end up with 17 wins, SJ's been their best player for 15 of them.
I think, yeah, and
I
the way
think
and the
it's
way that
SJ is definitely
the way that
best chance.
the way the Warriors shape up in the final 4 rounds. How many rounds to go? About 4 or 5 rounds. I think SJ has locked it in.
Where
pretty
was
much.
SJ sitting before voting went behind closed doors?
He was tied 7th.
I
So
still back Payne Haas, but I think
Deleted.
SJ is a good chance.
What about Walsh?
SJ's got it in my opinion.
Walsh,
got suspension,
Walsh
didn't he?
and Drinkwater, for those at home, both ineligible because they both got suspensions. Walsh was obviously for the swearing at the referee, and Drinkwater was taking Corey Oates' melon off.
melon off,
and
yeah.
breaking his jaw, or cheekbone, I think it was. So.
What about Tommy Starling off the bench for Raiders?
Now again,
I think we'll put it right through him. The all-out team. Let's crack on to some fantasy, mate. How'd the all-out team go?
All-out team. How did we go?
I know we moved up a few ranks.
Yes, we
from
did.
previous.
I think we went up. I think it was like 140 ranks. I think it was. Our team didn't go too bad. We had 975 points on the weekend. Just got let down a bit. Like Moses, even though he scored 2 tries, only got us 35 points, which was a bit of a letdown, especially for those that had SJ. And we didn't have SJ, so that really hurt us a bit. Like Nakora only getting 38.
Cleary's downgrade as well.
Yeah, Cleary got downgraded. But it was good. We got some great performances from Tedesco. That was the one that we really did well, like holding on to.
Anto Harris.
Yeah.
It was a sell in recent times.
Yeah.
Well, that was, I think we got a lot of questions, Flats, last week about Toe Harris, making, should we hold him, blah, blah, blah. And luckily we got some mail in that we sent on the story that he was crook last week. So that was why his minutes were down. And I think his minutes were still down to his usual, but he still ended up with 59 points. So, he did a really good job.
He's a worker.
I can't complain, but obviously Targo, who we spoke up last week, we had to last minute trade Garrick in for him as he unfortunately didn't play, and he's out again this week. So look, I've got him. I'm going to hold, but what are you guys thinking? If you were got in Targo and didn't make,
Well, I got in
trade?
Tomoko.
He did well. For
He's
us
special.
As well.
But if I did have Tago, depends. If he's out for another 2 weeks, then it's obviously a trade. But if it's just this week,
I reckon he's just this week because it was 1 to 2
I'd hold.
weeks.
But if I was selling him, I'd go to a Garrick or
Okay,
a
for sure.
Tomoko.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tomoko was elite on the weekend.
They're the two best
Stags
in the
with a
game.
90.
Yeah, he did have a good. I should move on to the tipping.
Yeah,
call
how
as
the
well.
tipping go?
Yeah, look, I didn't get the perfect round last week, unfortunately for us, so that was a bit.
What
a
the
bit
hell?
depressing. But look, I still did well. I think we got. What was it? Five out of 8. The Titans really let us down. That was absolutely awful from them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Storm as well. They, as we touched on earlier, they went down. And then we had Cronulla. They finished fast, but they lost the game in the first half.
Yeah, they did.
Concerning.
Concerning from Cronulla.
It was. And look, I'm not going to say it, but he's just been, you know who it is. He's just, his form hasn't been good. He's sliding down the ladder.
I reckon Manly is just concerning.
Oh, right. Well, you guys look confused. So
Oh,
Bones
yeah.
Broncos,
No,
Bones
don't-
Broncos.
don't
both
say his
Broncos.
name.
Mate, Manly's defense
Fucking-
last 10 minutes was something I've never seen before. That was horrible.
That Jesse Ramey and
They
Chilpel.
looked really tired. Quickly, boys, we should quickly touch on about the sport. I think Cord put out a post on the All Out Club this afternoon about, how we've been so lucky the last, month or so about so much sport happening the last month. What about it? Cricket.
Yeah,
We
look,
retain the Ashes.
we have, and I'm obviously happy to have retained the Ashes. I was actually quite disappointed because the whole atmosphere of going to Game 5 2-2.
Fake fan, mate. You don't love your
Nah.
country.
Nah, I'm a sport
You wanted
I
change.
wanted the story, I wanted the story. But no, very happy about the Ashes. I think Cummins might be a bit harshly done by. So the first 2 tests we were harping on about how good he was, and then the next 2 we've completely changed our
Pretty
perspective.
sure you were on this podcast roasting him, so.
Oh well, I'll put my hand up then. But I'm just saying the whole perspective of it all is it's all a bit bewildering, to be honest. But
We were
what
in
do
a
you think?
bit of a mess. To be honest, if we didn't get that rain, we were 4 or 5 down.
Oh, we've lost for sure.
We were in trouble.
We've been lucky this whole series, really.
Look, I got.
First 2 games we got lucky.
I was obviously a big advocate for Warner getting dropped. I gave a few statistics, had a few comments, people sending me their bet slips of him getting over 50 runs. I think I was proven right in the end.
Yes, yeah.
That reminded me of Dwight Schrute.
No,
yeah,
but
that's what I'm going for. Office, look at the camera.
do we make any changes, boys, for the 5th test? What do you reckon?
I've heard that some players pulled up a bit
Lame.
sore, yeah. So, but look, respectfully, I don't want to just retain the Ashes. I want to win the Ashes. I don't want to go. We haven't won the Ashes in England in so long. I want
been
to
a while.
go into this 5th test and win the game. Because the amount of sooking and complaining from England recently has just been over the top. They're all complaining and sooking.
Piers Morgan is delusional.
Seriously, you won the World Cup off overthrows.
Yeah, Tim Ludeman wrapped it up well. If you haven't seen
Yeah,
Tim
yeah, it was
Ludeman's tweet, that was
Great
that was
work
good.
from Woody.
But England should be whinging. They lost. Clancy said as well. They lost the first 2. What are you doing? They lost the first 2 tests. They had the best of the conditions, the best of the batting conditions, best of the bowling conditions, and
Yeah.
they've still lost it. So
Exactly. There's been multiple times where we've had the round, what was it, where they've come in and they've had the bowling perfect conditions. The
2015, we arguably should have won, but they had just the perfect weather situations, and then they have the shortest memories, the British.
Well, you just look at this, as I was saying, overcast on, they going into bowl, overcast conditions, and then we go to bloody bowl and it's bloody the sun's right out.
Yeah.
Anyway, what about Ricky Ponting, Bryce Harmon? winning the British Open.
Not sure what his odds were, but he was definitely a roughie.
Yeah, definitely a roughie. And that the links golf is completely different to what we're normally accustomed to in the US. It's why you sort of see a lot of the pros drop off, because who wants to play in the rain like that?
Yeah.
It's increasingly hard, and fair play to him. I think, what did he shoot in the end? 12 under or something.
Why is everyone saying Ricky Ponting?
He looks exactly like
He
him.
really looks like,
I've been watching, mate.
He ended up shooting 13 under, and he was like, that's like 6 shots I think above. Like he basically was uncatchable. Like there was no chance. He was always at least like 3 or 4 shots up.
How was my Ricky Fowler looking?
He didn't go too bad, I think. I think he ended up on -1 or something.
I had a bet on Johnny Rahm.
He ended up even,
Went alright.
tied 23rd.
7th, I think.
So
Anyway, Dor, I think we'll crack on to the teams.
Yeah, team lists.
What do you got there, Mick, for team lists?
Oh, am I doing it? Lovely. Look, I don't think it's the most eventful TLT, but the
That's
first
big.
game is the Broncos Roosters for the Broncos. Tommy Flegler returns. That's about it for them. The Roosters, Victor Radley returns into the lock. Next game is Tigers Rabbitohs. Luke Brooks returns to play his last few games for the Tigers before he moves to Manly. And Wakeham out of the side. That's a long time coming. He's been diabolical.
Has he ever been good?
I think he might have had one good game
I
a couple of
reckon
years ago.
He's been alright. He hasn't been
His
too
best
bad.
footy was in Fiji. I reckon.
Yeah.
It's hard to go well considering how the Tigers have been.
I think Tigers should be favourites. They got a big player back in Charlie Staines.
And Brooksy.
Could give a straight face there, mate.
Close contact meters for him.
Yeah, negative post-contact meters. For the Rabbitohs, Latrell finally set to return.
You bloody beauty.
That's taken a long time. Initially, it was 2 weeks he was meant to be
Yeah,
out
it
for.
was a couple of weeks.
I was always sceptical,
Mm.
especially with calves.
Yeah, and
Host
Look
is on
up-
the edge.
Hold on, Mick. Hold on. Before we move on to the next game, our buy of the week for round 22 is Latrell Mitchell.
Drum roll? Oh, okay.
Is Latrell Mitchell.
Get him straight indoor.
Tell
Yeah.
Mitt. Tell Mitt. Do you want
I don't care.
Flex it. Flex it.
I don't care about the buy round. I legitimately think he's coming in this week. And
I reckon he gets under 30 points.
No, you can listen. You were gonna say, you could say that after. I reckon you could
I'm
book him in
joking.
for 50 plus.
87 break even.
Campbell
I
Graham.
Get some
don't
balls
care.
still.
Low key you buy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jacob Post.
cheap.
All right. Continue, Mick, with the next game.
Next door. Storm versus Eels. Justin Olam is replacing the centres by young Tom Matea. I don't know if that's an injury or just a dropping.
No, I think he's injured, but I'm not sure exactly what.
The
with.
big one from the Storm is Buddy Nelson.
Yeah.
Is gone,
What an awful
Um,
buy.
which stings because on the edge he actually scores really well.
No, it'll be Nelson's
he's-
out because of injury, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Broke
yeah,
his finger, and they couldn't get it back in. He was struggling on the weekend.
Eli Katoa's back in the interchange as well. For the Eels, Sean Lane obviously injured his elbow with Davey moving into the starting side. I don't know if Davey's much chop, personally. Like he seems to.
I'd play Matto over him on the edge.
Yeah, I don't know if he's better than Amato coming off the bench, but yeah.
Yeah.
And Joey Lussick, new signing, joins the bench. And I'm still not sure about Dylan Brown. I think he's another week away. Raiders, Newcastle. That's a great game, especially for the run home, top 8. Raiders have the same side, while the Knights, Jacob Saifidi starts in the front row with Daniel Saifidi missing through injury.
And Brody Five Jonesma back on the bench.
He's back.
He's back.
Next game, Dragons versus Manly. Moses Zembai have been granted an early release from the club. Best news I've heard in a few months. I'll be honest.
Out of the Red V, I assume, not just like in general.
That's
Surely you've had some good news in your life last month.
the Red V is my life. So news like that
Respect.
puts me in a great mood. For Manly, Paseka and Josh Alloway out for extended stints on the sideline. Bluemore back on the bench. Penrith versus Sharks. Spencer Lino's out. And Tago's still out. Peachy's actually pretty good in the centres.
Yeah,
He's always a good. He's always a good.
Can't pass it when Taruva needs.
He's always a good addition into the multi. I've found when he starts.
Yeah, that's why you don't put Taruva in your multis, ladies and gents.
Yeah, because he's next to two hogs in Peachy and Luai.
Exactly that.
Matt Moylan for the Sharks left out again with Trindle playing at 5'8". Look, we talked up Trindle a lot, and he had a stinker. To be fair,
He did have stinker.
They all stunk. Give him another chance.
that whole side was diabolical.
Yeah, I agree with Flats. Like, that first half was awful. Like, no one's
even Nico played bad.
Well, some of those forward passes.
Yeah, I don't want to go into that. That was
Wade Graham started, boys.
to director.
Everyone chuck Wade Graham into your multi. I'm sure he'll score.
Question before we move on to the next game. Now, we did have him as a buy earlier, and this man was the one who was out. But now with him being ruled out for the season, is Cam McInnes a buy?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
Straight swap from Nene.
On
Cheapy Jesse
on
Cole.
Nas. On Nas.
Cheapy Jesse Colehurian. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. He's been banned for one match. So yeah.
We were tossing up whether he's Cheapy of the week last week, but we just didn't know about his job security.
Yeah.
But
So,
I don't think with Wade
thank
Graham
us later.
now, he's not going to get that swap. So.
All right.
Or Jesse.
For the Doggies, they will verse the Dolphins. Kickow
He's back.
is finally back, as well as Josh Adokar and Toby Sexton.
Yeah.
I think they should be favourites.
Yo! My Toby.
One overrated player, two overrated player, three overrated players, all in one.
You've got it all
all
wrong,
in
mate.
one
You've got it all wrong.
team list. Mate,
You've got it all wrong.
I'm right about the first two at least.
What about Mick? Just tell me that Dolphins team, because I said a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, if you remember, about Wayne Bennett being deluded with his team and the hammer being on the centre and Tawaro being on the wing. And what did Wayne do this week, Mick?
Hammer reverts to fullback.
Thank you. Thanks for listening, Wayne.
JMK is finally back from his shoulder injury as well, and Harrison Graham is out of the side. I knew he was a fraudulent cheapie.
That's all right. He did his job for our 1 week.
Yeah.
That's all we needed.
Titans,
We definitely need
Cowboys.
more than that.
No,
1 week.
Basement price.
Who was the bloke we had
Red
last
dot.
year?
Oh,
No,
Wolford.
that
no. Rushton.
Rushton.
We
Harry
rushed to
Rushton.
get in
Yeah,
Harry
Harry
Rushton,
Rushton.
and it ruined our year.
Well, we still finished like just outside the top 10.
Yeah, I
Did a
think
good job.
Top 1,000, was it 100?
we should be discussing that more. That the fact that
100
we
and something.
we obviously talk about how we came first for
We were first.
we were
Career
first
earnings.
after 12 weeks. Yeah, we have earnings, but we need to talk about how we ended up
100th.
100th.
Yeah.
Don't see any YouTube. Courtesy
No.
YouTube is doing that. Anyway, for the Titans, Stimpson's named to start. Chris Randall on the bench, and Tino's still out for 2 games due to that suspension. Nanai has been ruled out, so
Finay Fukiaki.
starts in the back row. Thanks, Dor.
That's all right.
And that's the team list. Hope you enjoyed.
Yeah, lovely team list, Mick.
Well,
Thanks,
we're going through that. Thanks, Mick. That was brilliant. Any buys there, boys? Any immediate buy holds or sells that we're thinking? So Dor's got the Trell Mitch shirt on, promoting it very well.
Trell Mitch.
Show it off again, Dor. Show it off again. Look at that stunner.
I'd wait a week to buy
Can you
Latrell.
actually
I'd
get it?
also wait a week. But so we got Latrell's for Dor. You're saying Cameron McInnes, boys.
Cameron McInnes,
Yeah.
yeah.
A few sells are obvious ones like Nanai, Nas.
Underrated buy here. Joseph Suawali'i.
That's too many syllables.
It's a road.
I took my time there, and I think I still butchered it.
Joseph Suali'i.
I think one to watch is Hands with Lussick coming back. I don't think he's going to be playing that big minutes. Like, he's got to hold for now, but he obviously wouldn't sell because he's got a real low break even. But it's just something to watch. He could be a sell next
There's a
week
few
or the
pod-
week after.
Sorry, Dor. There's a few pod centres lurking around, like
Lomax.
Ramian, Lomax, Stags. Garrick, is he a pod?
Yeah, Garrett. I think
Wouldn't say so now.
There's a few people I think that have Gary.
And another pod edge, Fitzgibbon. He's been good, averaging 67 over the last 3 weeks.
What about Frizzell?
Nah.
You sure? You should-
Frizz.
Frizzell's scores of late, I'm pretty
Frizz.
sure have been pretty good.
Fizz.
Boys, we got some Q&A questions here because we'll crack on. And there's not many this week due to the season wrapping up and people stop playing. So would you bring in Cleary for any of Papali,
mate.
Bateman or Nikora?
Yep.
Yep.
Parley,
Oh,
Bateman, but
maybe Nakora. I feel like Bateman's a keeper.
But Papali as well. You get rid of
I
him, right?
feel like
Yeah.
I just don't want the Tigers players. Any Tigers players at all.
yeah.
He also said, would you swap any of these names mentioned before for Cam Murray?
Oh, I think we did. That was one of our better picks last week for buy old sell. Cam Murray. That was a stunning pickup. If those got him, I think
He's a buy this weekend. as
Oh
well.
yeah, as well. Yeah, for sure. So any of those for? See, I
Murray.
agree with Mick. I think Bateman out of all those ones is the one you keep. I think his base stats are the best out of all of them. I think it'd be either IPAP or Nakora. I'd be looking to move.
Maybe IPAP I'd get rid of.
IPAP for me was not having a good game last week, and I think he did like a line break and busted a few tackles and set up a try, I think, and then that basically gave him a good score. And like Flat said, I don't think you really want to have too many Tigers players.
Yeah, cool.
Sorry, Tigers fans.
Cormac says, is Walsh a buy with Latrell back and Ponga eating?
Who?
Is Walsh a buy?
Walsh.
Well, if you don't
Yeah.
Ponga, I'd obviously buy him. I'd buy.
Greg Mazu.
Yeah, I'd rather Marzu than
He's
Walsh.
PPM animal.
Yeah.
Do the Broncos have a buy?
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
Broncos do.
Yeah, I wouldn't get Walsh. He got 47 with the try.
How long is Preston out for? You got that one, Door?
He'll be back this week.
Back this
He's
week?
back this week because he only missed last week because he was crook.
As in next week he's back?
No, he's back this week.
Oh,
been
his name.
the starting second row with kick out. He was just real crook, so that's why I didn't play.
Jack says, Nano to a mid or an edge under 624k.
Oh,
Is McInnes under that?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Flats. I have to check.
Fitzy.
McInnes is 642. What did you say it was?
624.
624.
McInnes is over. He's 642. And Murray, I'd say, is over that as well.
What other positions?
Yeah.
Mid or edge under 624. Pardon me.
Lachlan Fitzgibbon is literally only
Yeah, he's a sleeper pod, to be honest.
Billy Burns.
No.
Not Billy Burns.
No.
Frizzell.
Olakawatu.
Not Frizzell, sorry. Fitzgibbon could be the... is Olakwatu under?
No, he's 639.
Yeah, I was going to say, but I wouldn't even be high on picking him up. I think he relies...
Maxi King, maybe? Look, you'd rather just not get these players. Aaron Clark got 76 last week.
Maybe even look to cash him out for a cheapie and upgrade someone else.
Yeah.
Aaron Clark's not a bad shout.
Madison's only 639, but I don't want to get him.
At least you can rely on Fitzy to play 80 minutes.
Yeah.
Another one here, boys, is Moses a keep or a sell
Hold.
Yeah, I'd hold Moses.
with 35. He's got the buy in the last round, so make sure any Eels players, you're keeping them to trade out in the last round because that's when the final of your leagues will be.
I think
So-
we've got 6 trades, so we'll probably keep Moses until the last round, unless we go for SJ with that run home. We've still got money in the bank with our moves, so that could be something. But for now, I definitely would hold. Like SJ's obviously not playing this week, so definitely hold. He should bounce back. Like the Eels were very, very poor last week against the Cowboys. Like you're not going to see Moses scoring 2 tries and getting 35 points. Like,
Nah, exactly.
yeah.
Anything else we got to talk about, boys, before we wrap it up for round 22? Or
I guess just to follow all our club and all out NBA. Yes, all out NBA. There's not much content at the moment, but look, it will start to pick up when the season gets a bit closer, and our first pod should be coming soon.
Just remember this order. Penrith, Broncos, Warriors, Rabbitohs, Raiders, Sharks, Storm, Cowboys. That'll be your top 8.
and what are you saying about the Warriors?
Top G?
No chance.
No
Yeah,
chance.
that's it.
That's it. Yeah, don't need to say much more. All right, boys. Well, that will wrap us up for round 22 and this week. So see you next week.